Last year, I had the honor of being a speaker at a local university symposium, amazing symposium. The purpose of it was pretty much to give educators an opportunity to understand the different tools that are available to them during this new reality. So the title of my talk was, let me see what's it called, New Approaches to Educational Delivery. I look at asynchronous and synchronous tools used to counter the challenges of the new reality. It's a mouthful, not true. But the aim of it was, again, just to give everybody locally or person that would have logged in to view the symposium online, what are some of the tools that are available? How can you now be a new age educator, if you wish? So my particular presentation delves a little deeper into some of those not only new techniques and new tools, but how to weather the storm during this pandemic as an educator. So my particular talk I broke it up into four basic objectives. One, just to give you some insights on the impact of the pandemic. Two, define the two type of tools that I will be going through, which are asynchronous and synchronous modalities. Identify them because, again, you may not even know that some of these tools exist. So as an educator, tune into that third objective. It's going to be very important or very interesting. And experiential. Now, once you know the tools, people, it's in your best interest as an educator to see how best you can sort of incorporate it. So here goes. First, just to jump right into impact. We all know what happened last year. There was a mad scramble to use digital learning tools. Some teachers were using WhatsApp to educate to communicate with students and parents. And when school lockdown, I believe it was in March, Aprilish, hey, it was total chaos. It was just a scramble. Teachers just didn't know how to sort of keep the ball rolling. So up next are some of the ways in which COVID, and we all know how it impacted the education sector. We all know loss of instructional time. So when school closed, for obvious reasons, it's not like the students would have a more structured class type setting. There was an obvious loss of instructional time for a period. We did get back to some degree of teaching over time, but in that initial stages, there was a certain level of chaos. There were, even though there were interim solutions to keep education going, a lot of these solutions weren't really known. So even though they were out there, it was for educators or the experts to communicate what are some of the tools that teachers can use to keep the education, quote unquote, ball rolling. Hey, this one goes without saying, unpreparedness. For me, I thought that the pandemic or the impact of the pandemic would have been probably after a month, things would have gone back to normal. I was lecturing at the time, and I said, "All right, let's give this probably a month or so, allow it to blow off." Hey, even to this day, guys, there's still remnants of it. For well, school is still out, but during that initial stage, teachers were unsure of their obligations and how to maintain connections. And let me revisit that statement. They knew that they had the obligation to teach, but maintaining connection was one of the things that they were a little oblivious about in terms of how to move forward with the education or teaching their students. And last year there were, and especially in the initial stages after schools lockdown, there was no real timeline for open. You know, what would happen? When are we going to open? We're at we're in 2021 now. And even though students that are doing exams, they are doing their face to face, we're still tinkering about the idea of when when school or when students will really go back to that state of normalcy that they had. Or better yet, will they? For the most part, guys, there was a total disruption in education. The didactic pedagogy is what we're used to, where you have we're sort of confined to the four walls. It's almost like a juggernaut type principle. Things are based off memorization, passive knowledge acquisition, the use of traditional textbooks. Those things we're used to. And as an 80s guy, I used to flip in my page and them type of something there. But we are now seeing an adjustment, a change to more reflexive pedagogy, more ubiquitous learning, the whole notion of anywhere, anytime, anyhow type of learning. All right, multimodal meaning or multimodal education, meaning students can literally go and get their insights on education outside of the structured textbooks that are there. And so we're seeing a more flexible approach to education. So it's not just students being given tablets to learn. Students are now given a sort of framework in which to build their education, and they can always do their research outside via Google or all those other options. So even though COVID may not be the main catalyst to causing this, it was really that impetus to ensure that this whole thing gained the momentum that it has gained over the last couple of months. So let me define asynchronous and synchronous learning. Big words, big words. So asynchronous means self-paced, and therefore participants can use certain learning elements to go at their own pace, well, i.e., self-paced. And why I'm passionate about this one, after UWI, all of my knowledge was pretty much asynchronous. I did courses after courses. Sometimes I think I'm cursed because I'll just get up on a Sunday morning or a Saturday and just say, "Oh, I'm just gonna do a course." All right, I am. Let me frame this right. I'm cursed with the thirst for knowledge, so I'm always reading, always doing courses. So asynchronous type of learning, it helps me because I just have that thirst for knowledge. What I like about it is just the flexibility and also the time that it gives. So you go at your own pace. When you need the knowledge, you can get the knowledge. You can incorporate different multimedia elements, more mental processing time. Because as for me, I start my day at 4 a.m. Between 4 and 6 is the knowledge center where I read books, I do courses, I practice. So I'm able to sort of process certain things at my own pace, which I love. So I don't have to literally wait until 8:30 to go to a class and then learn and then take break. My style is different. I am more aligned with the asynchronous features. Synchronous, on the other hand, is what most of our students are used to. They like that real time type of immediate feedback vibe from their teachers, and for the most part, most of them they love the structure. All right, anything outside of the structure, they get bored. Them can't bother with it. But hey, some people are more so self motivated, others are not. But with the synchronous features, it's more real time interaction and support, immediacy. So you ask your lecturer a question, the lecturer can feedback right away. Just to identify some of the tools that come under both these two elements, Blackboard is one of those asynchronous tools I have used as a lecturer where I set up basic elements or basic features that are available in Blackboard, whether it's discussion boards, blogs, web blogs, or wikis. And students, long after the class is done, they can literally go there and either contribute or do some of the lessons, or Blackboard also offers some gamification elements. They can do that at their own pace. Moodle, fairly similar. And so Moodle, not to belabor this point, Moodle also offers that opportunity to gamify certain elements, and students can literally go on and learn at their own pace. Pre-recorded courses, no, guys. As I said before, no, I'm one of those persons that will pay my $50 or my $25 and do some of these courses just to add to my repertoire of knowledge. This course, even though it's here as an example, I urge my educators to take advantage of this program. It's called eLearning Ecologies, and it gives a good framework in terms of how to not only survive in this new reality, but it gives teachers just some step-by-step approaches in terms of how to evolving your traditional approach to education to the new reality. So this one has my 5 stars. E-learning and authoring tools also give lecturers and educators an opportunity to create courses in such a way that they can put it together, set it, probably share a link, and give their students an opportunity to learn at their own pace. So here's one that I've used before. It's called iSpring. It can be a little expensive, but you have to play the numbers game, how I see it. When I use iSpring, one, I downloaded a free version. Two, there was also a sale, so I upgraded to the sale, which I only paid like a small amount. And my vision was this: I have all this information in my head. Why don't I just put a course together and sell it? So that was my aim. I put a few programs together, sold it on Udemy, which I believe I took that one down. And there was also another option where I put a course together and I was able to pass it on to some of my colleagues for learning. So iSpring, this is iSpring. It just gives educators an opportunity to make the lesson a little bit more engaging. So you can drag and drop things, you can add quizzes, all of the shebang. Right? Buffering a bit. So you are able to again pull characters into your presentation just to move away / detour from just having a presentation with just text. Nah, man, the social texting, it won't work. You have to find a way to adjust your the excitement in your lessons, and this is just an opportunity to do that. So iSpring, definitely recommend iSpring. Adobe Captivate. No, Adobe Captivate is great for adding gamification in your lessons. So this one, I believe it probably would be suited for primary school or a little older, but with feature-rich tools that gives you the ability to incorporate a little bit more color, a little bit more engagement and interaction in your lesson. Adobe Captivate is one of those tools that I believe you should be using if you're an educator. Elucidat is also, what I like about Elucidat, guys, is it is a user-friendly option. It gives you a blueprint or a foundation to build on. So if you're totally oblivious to how to use some of these tools, Elucidat gives you a foundation on which to build. So I believe this is a video. Let me play this video for you. And yeah, my heading is wrong. It should be Elucidate at the top. But again, this is a great tool that I definitely endorse. Now to my favorite, Zenla. I must say, people, Zenla saved my life. Zenla is one of those tools that allowed me to get a little bit more. What should I say now? It allowed me to add more money to my coffers. Right? For the reason that after creating your course through this platform, you can market it, you can sell it. It gives you a payment gateway option for you to sell your courses if needs be. So I love this course, and I owe not this course, I owe this platform a lot because it just allowed me to survive the loss of income last year. So this also is a video. Let me just play it for you a second. It's a screen capture, not a video. So in addition to creating your courses, you can also do live courses as well if you wanted to. And this was me using Zenla last year. Bought one of those light thingies at on Amazon as well as a camera. I just run some courses. All right, paid courses. So I had students in Guyana. I had students in I had 3 students in the US. I also had local students because I lecture at 2 universities. So the aim of this particular platform for educators is pretty much to let me make up a word or a phrase. Monetize your intellect or monetize your brain or what you know, because you can be the best of maths teacher or the best digital marketer. Hey, put a program together. There are platforms where you can sell your mind to persons because not everybody is as proficient as you in your area. So this is one of those platforms that allow you to create the program and sell the program. And if it's not selling properly, you can also market the program. Synchronous tools. Synchronous tools, more structured. Blackboard and Moodle can also be used via the synchronous means as well, because you can literally run live classes through Blackboard Collaborate. Some popular ones that we're used to outside of Blackboard and Moodle. Zoom is one of those go-to options. Everybody use Zoom over the last couple of months, man. I'm sure that the Zoom stock just skyrocketed. But Zoom allows you to run some classes, if needs be, some live classes as the need arise. Skype, the granddaddy of them all. Skype again is one of those options that you can, share your screen, have as much as 10,000 attendees. I guess it's based off the package that you pay for. Because I know Zoom, depending on what you pay for, there are different tiers of invitees/attendees that you can facilitate at any one time. So Skype also allows that as well. Google Classroom, I kid you not. Google, when the pandemic hit, Google was one of those options that I recommended to all my fellow educators at first. And I'm not talking the one at universities because they would be using Moodle or Google or Blackboard already. But some of my colleagues from the primary and secondary level who pretty much were a bit unprepared, I suggested Google Classroom right off the bat because Google, in addition to sharing your screen or having those live classes, you can, do slides, Google Docs, different sheets, And so, because Google is one of those names that are reputable, I thought it best to recommend it to the persons who wanted one of those suites, one of those platforms that was almost turnkey. So Google was the best option. Facebook rooms. Quick story. I was running a class, or I was supposed to run a class on Blackboard. I couldn't log in. I think I forgot my password. It was a class of about 35, I believe. And so I had a free Zoom account. And you know, with Zoom, it is only 40 minutes if you're on the free version. So I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I just run some class on Facebook rooms. I was able to run some sessions. Luckily, at that day, I don't believe I had the full complement of students, but Facebook allowed me to move forward with a lot of my classes. I think that's me down in the bottom right corner. Yeah, running class. Yeah. So that just gave me an opportunity to keep my class going. Experiential. This is the last objective. And fellow educators, and even outside of educators, even persons in the corporate world, try to incorporate some energy, some new vibe in your online learning. I kid you not. Online learning is boring. But even the tools, the aforementioned tools that I just mentioned, as well as others that are on the market now, because when I did this presentation, it was in 2020. Rest assured, several others have come on the market. Try to find ways of just incorporating new modalities to enhance learning. I'm going to play a clip that went viral last year. And for obvious reasons, this is why we need to incorporate more interaction, more engagement in our online learning. Listen up. Miss, I am taking a break right now.
Sheldon, we have a set time for break and a set time for lunch. You don't decide when you take a break, all right? Just sit and wait until we say it's break time.
Guys, team, people, Sheldon was bored. Oh, let me stop that. Sheldon was bored for obvious reasons. And as a primary school student, at secondary or even a college student, as I keep reiterating, it's just a little dull, mundane, and very boring sometimes when it comes to online learning. And I'm sure that persons who are listening can attest to that. So, experiential learning is the application of theory and academic content to real world experiences and finding ways to pretty much incorporate new elements in your academic learning. So, your aim as educators is just to find the different tools that can add some pizzazz, some vibe to your academia. So, provide a means of sharing and collaboration. One of them, and this is one of those tools that for the last three objectives I've been reiterating and talking about Blackboard. Now, Blackboard has several features. I alluded to them earlier, and I'm just going to get into a few of them right now. That just gives educators the power to find ways to incorporate a little bit more engagement to their lessons. So there are wiki features, there are blog features, there are crossword puzzles, there are so much things available in the Blackboard platform. So the following videos just gives you some insights in terms of the power of Blackboard. And allow course members to contribute and modify one or more pages of course-related materials. Let's take a look. Only your instructor can create a wiki, but after creation, you can create and edit pages. To add a page, select Create Wiki Page. Next, type a brief name for your page and add your content in the editor.
Using the functions in the content editor, you can include any combination of text, images, links, multimedia, mashups, and attachments, and determine where they appear within the text. You can also link to an existing wiki page. To include a link to another wiki page, select the Link to Wiki page from the editor functions. Use the menu.
So the wiki feature is one option. There's also the poll feature.
Polls are a great way to engage your attendees and keep them interested. Let's take a look. To start a poll, open the Collaborate panel, select Share Content, and then select Polling. You can select either a multiple choice poll, where you can provide up to 5 choices, or a yes-no poll, where attendees will be presented with the option to answer yes or no. With both poll types, you have the option to type a poll question. Poll questions have a 110-character limit. If using multiple choice, you can provide up to 5 answer choices, and each answer choice has a 90-character limit. When you are ready to start your poll, select Start. The poll overview gives you a response count for each choice and shows you how many attendees haven't yet responded. To see how each attendee responded or who hasn't responded, go to the Attendees panel.
And what I like about polls is the fact that, the students are already familiar with the notions of polls. I believe this is Instagram, if I'm not lying. There are options in which you can literally do polls in social media. So they're already familiar with how the poll option works, right? So incorporating polls in your lesson is one of those things that I definitely recommend. Blog feature is also just as important. It gives students an opportunity to contribute in terms of from the lesson standpoint. So the blog feature also available via Blackboard. It's one of those options that I definitely believe that educators can add in their lessons.
Blogs are an effective way for you to express your ideas and share knowledge and materials created and collected in the course. Let's take a look. You can access 3 types of blogs: course, group, and individual. In a course blog, all enrolled users can create entries and add comments to entries. If your instructor enables the blog tool for a group, all group members can create blog entries and make comments. Any course member can read and comment on a group blog, but can't create an entry if the user isn't a member of the group. As the owner of an individual blog, you can create entries, and your instructor and classmates can add comments. To create an entry, select the name of the blog you want to access.
Alright, so I'm not going to stay on blogs too long. You can research on how to create blogs via Blackboard, but again, just making that recommendation. It's one of those features that if you're at the tertiary level or secondary level, you can incorporate it in your lessons. So this was another screen capture that just underscores how vast the features are with Blackboard. So you have multiple choice, you have puzzles, you have forums, crossword puzzles, book with questions, games. So what I like about Blackboard is just the ability to add gamification in your lessons. And just as Sheldon it was with the previous voice note, it's in your best interest as an educator to add some engagement and some fun in your overall lessons. So, which option is best? Asynchronous or synchronous? Comes down to you as an educator, which option which option works for you. I'm recommending the blended approach because students definitely need structure, but especially with the new reality, you have to find ways of just incorporating a more self-paced approach to your overall lessons. So combining the online education with the traditional based classroom methods is one of those things that I will definitely recommend as a way forward, not only post-COVID, but long after. So that is my presentation to you. I hope that as an educator or even the corporate persons who are listening, you find ways of just incorporating a little bit more vibes and a little bit more energy in your lessons. Because we all know we have been on meetings that may be a tad bit boring. We have been in lessons that you may maybe falling asleep. Finding ways to incorporate these new modalities is absolutely essential. So thank you very much for listening. This is Ewort Atkinson.